I never thought this late in the year we'd be talking Broncos on DJ football, but here we are. It's next. It is DJ Football. He's Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network. I'm Ryan Brown. The show presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag and get that deposit match up to $1,000. Up to $1,000 when you use code next round at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. DJ, what is up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Maybe don't feel as great, like probably that little bug that seems to be traveling around. I think it's got to both of us, but anytime we can take a little break from sneezing and sniffling to talk a little football, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, it might be a short-lived break, but we'll take that break. All right, Broncos Lions, NFL Network Saturday night. We start some Saturday night NFL football. This is the NFL Network. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I would have laughed at the NFL Network showing this game in prime time, but boy, all of a sudden does it have meaning.
No question. And for two teams headed in the opposite direction, if you'd have checked in, maybe 5, 6 weeks ago, the Lions, the resurgent Lions were the buzz, and that was the talk of the town. It looked like the Sean Payton regime was off to a very turbulent start, including giving up a 70 spot to your Dolphins. So then you look up and haven't seen that team up close personal last week. The Dolphins having won 6 of 7. The defense under Vance Joseph is dialed in. They're starting to get more and more pressure. We knew they had talent in the secondary. So they're playing great there. Russell Wilson just finds a way to kind of make a couple plays a game. He's not playing outside of himself, very conservative offensively. And they're finding their way to win football games. And then the other side, you got the Lions who, at least thankfully in this one, they won't be out in the elements because that was not a pretty showing in Chicago for Jared Goff and company.
Yeah, let's start with that because they lose in Chicago 28-13, and Dan Campbell, very honest after the game, basically said, we're not a contender right now. I mean, this is not the way a contender plays football. And they've lost 2 out of 3, and that is a little bit of an alarming trend for them, especially when the Bears is one of those 2 losses.
Yeah, it's just sloppy. There was a couple games I felt like this last week. Maybe it's just part of a 17-game season. It's hard to maintain your focus and your intensity on a week-to-week basis. But here, everything's in front of the Lions. They got everything to play for, and just was a sloppy performance. Now, the numbers are the numbers. Jared Goff doesn't like playing cold weather, so that should not be a surprise. So they'll be back indoors for this one, and they got to get a little bit. They got to just get off to a good start. You don't want to get behind on this Denver team because they'll run the 4-minute offense. Even if they're throwing the ball, they will milk the game. They will shorten the game down. So I think it's important the Lions get out to a fast start in this game offensively because of the matchup that they're in. But more than anything else, also just get that taste out of your mouth from how ugly it was last week.
I know it is a home game, but looking forward for the Lions, how much do you worry about these dome teams, especially in that division where you got to play games at Green Bay and at Chicago like they just did? How much do you worry about that in December?
Well, it's not ideal. I mean, I have to pull up their schedule. I think they are at Dallas, which will be, they'll be indoors for that one, which will be nice. But I think they've got maybe 2 with Minnesota as well. So they're it's all right in front of them. Ideally, you'd like to have a team that's fine no matter where you play, inside, outside, shouldn't matter. But that's who they are right now. And Jared Goff has a long track record there, so it behooves them to stay indoors as much as possible, and they can control a lot of that with how they finish up.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle this because they have been the sexy pick in the offseason. They've been the team that a lot of people have been excited about the way they play. But now they've got a basically 4 weeks of football here that will determine their playoff future. How do they handle that is something we really don't know with this team. They haven't been in this position before.
Yeah, we haven't seen them in that front runner status. And that's why this game carries all the more meaning because, man, you lose this one. Now you really start to get a little tight and the panic can start to set in a little bit. So, it is a monster game. And when you look at it on the other side of things, Ryan, which I'm sure we'll get into, but I mean, the Denver Broncos are 1 game out of first place.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because Kansas City has not run away and hidden in that division. In fact, they've come backwards. So we'll discuss that. It is DJ Football. He's Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network. And the show is presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. And you get that sign-on match up to $1,000 when you use code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Also, Manscaped.com, gift giving season is here. This is the handyman that I've got right here from Manscaped.com. It is that portable, compact razor, great for home, great for the road, great anywhere. you can get it at manscaped.com. Other great products like the Beard Hedger that I use all the time to keep it trimmed down a little bit. That Weed Whacker takes care of the nose hair and the ear hair. And then there's the Lawnmower. It takes care of the undercarriage and the entire body. You can get all of that plus the great boxer shorts and male body products at manscaped.com. I'm going to give you a code here. Since you're watching DJ Football, you can save on your first order at manscaped.com. DJF20. That is DJF20 for DJ Football viewers. And you save on your first purchase there in manscaped.com, 20% off with code DJF20. All right, let's talk about that because Kansas City lost to Buffalo this past Sunday. Very controversial finish. And let's start there before we even talk about
it's offsides.
It is 100% offsides. And I know everybody's like, well, normally you get a warning first. Well, normally I guess you do, but it was 100% offsides.
You're offsides. And it's not like, wow, it ruined the best play of the game. Well, the official didn't get to watch the whole play happen and then throw a flag at the end of it and say, I'm going to wipe out this incredibly exciting, potentially game-winning play. You threw the flag at the beginning because that's what you do. You're offsides beginning of play. You throw the flag without any idea the result of the play. It's irrelevant. He's offsides. You throw the flag. Done.
He wasn't just kind of offsides either. I mean, he's looking in the ear hole of a defender. I'm like, you got to know you're offsides if you can see the defender's helmet.
No, I don't know. Look, it's a team that over the years has had their fair share go their way on that one. So it just, I think that's why some people, the backlash is a little stronger on the complaints of just like, hey, this has swung the other way a few times now.
But Denver is still alive. I cannot believe we're saying this. Denver is still alive in that division. They're going to need help. Kansas City's schedule is not backbreaking down the stretch. Denver's isn't great. They play, or there's just bad either. They play after this game, the Patriots, the Chargers, who, as you know, have a backup quarterback, Easton Stick, and the Raiders, who have not played well.
Aiden O'Connell.
Does that, I mean, 10
this
games?
This is the game.
Yeah,
this is the game.
Yeah, if they could get to 10, they're in the playoffs, maybe.
This game right here, I mean, they win this game. They put the pressure on Kansas City, you know, because the way that the matchups look, at least on paper, they're going to be favored in every other game they play the rest of the year. So this to me is the one. If they could somehow go into Detroit and get this game, you're talking about finishing on a pretty amazing run here, with one loss in your last 10 games or something like that.
Yeah, so 6 of the last 7 they've won. I mean, it's a remarkable turnaround.
Yeah, and they've got a chance. They've got 4 left in their 4 games, and this is a tough one with Detroit. But if you could get this, you're looking at a team that's going to finish winning 10 of their last 11 games potentially. It's nuts.
Yeah. Do you think it was just that it took Russell Wilson a moment to get comfortable with Sean Payton and Sean Payton comfortable with Russell Wilson? Is that what happened? Is it just they finally were like, okay, this is who we are?
Well, I think the defense.
Call it play for you.
Yeah, I think the defense too. I think once the defense got it figured out, and then they figured out the formula. I always say that there's, every team has its own unique formula, and some know it going into the season, some figure it out as you go along. And they figured out, hey, once we start playing good defense, now we can possess the football. Now we can, don't turn it over. And let Russell, he only does it a couple times a game where he extend plays. He had one last week, extended it and hit a long touchdown pass and use his legs to get a key 3rd down run late in the 4th quarter, sprinkling that in. That's been it. That's all they need. And they're good on special teams. So they've kind of figured out that formula and they've wrote it to a bunch of victories here.
So they win this one. I mean, so I'm torn on this. If they win this one, I'm inclined to say, well, gosh, they easily get to 11 games, right? But then I also look at that and I say, are the Broncos really going to end on this kind of streak where they lose, or they win 10 out of 11 games to finish the season? Almost nobody does that in the NFL.
All right. Well, let's see. The Patriots, they got right. Yep. Using a quarterback they did not anticipate playing this year.
That's right.
Chargers, Raiders. Yep. I mean, the AFC has been decimated at quarterback. Some of it performance related, most of it injury related.
Yeah.
But that's why Russell Wilson being able to go start to finish, it's a huge advantage, man.
It is Broncos Lions Saturday night NFL Network. DJ Football presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag and get that sign-on match of your initial deposit up to $1,000 with code next round at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. And don't forget the promo code there at Manscaped.com for all their great products. DJF20. Save 20% off your first order. Broncos, Lions, Saturday night NFL Network. He's Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network, and this is DJ Football.